Hello, in today's video I'll be showing you how to get your small fish to grow into large, strong, healthy fish. I'll be showing you what has worked for me, getting some of my tosai to grow to 30 centimeters by the time they reach the age of 2 years. And as you can see, some real size growth, so stay tuned to see how I do that. Now I've broken it down into 5 separate sections, each individually having a separate factor on the fish and also interlinking. These all help with growing the fish at a faster rate than you would normally. Arguably the first most important factor is the water quality. Now water quality is greatly affected by many tiny little things. Now as you can see, my tub is 4 foot by 7 foot, and one common mistake is overstocking. Now as you can see, this tub is completely fine with the amount of fish in here due to the filter, but something that's easily done with smaller fish is putting too many fish in there and then producing too much waste for your filter to cope with. And even if you clean it out, there's just too much ammonia built up and pH built up in the tank, and your fish will start to die. As you can see, there's a plenty size amount for the fish in here, and the filter I have running is an extremely large filter for the tank. It's probably over about a third of the water of the tub. Now, I also have a UV running underneath to keep the water crystal clear and to kill off any bacteria in the water, and it's also good to have a fast flowing pump. Always overcompensate, never undercompensate. This is the filtration I use on the inside, and this just helps to keep the water quality well. Always do tests on your tub as well. It's always better to make sure your water is well all the time, and to make sure your fish are happy. That's an easy way to tell if they're healthy or not. If they're swimming around looking nice and happy, that's a good telltale sign that they're doing well in the tank they're in. Another factor that plays into this is the temperature you have your fish at. In my opinion, the most optimal temperature for your fish is 22 degrees. Now I have a thermometer in there to make sure it's at the right temperature. As you can see currently, it's about 21 degrees in there, Celsius. As you can see there. Now, I moderate the temperature on the polytunnel I'm in, so the only way I'm able to do that is by opening the doors and letting air in. So if I see it's too hot, I have to open the doors so they don't overheat. As you can see the doors. This is the polytunnel from the outside, and you can get an idea of the scale of the polytunnel. Now what a polytunnel does is designed for plants to keep them warm. And you'll see many koi breeders using these to keep their tanks warm. The one issue is it's a lot harder to moderate the temperature than you would with a heater, but it's also a lot more energy efficient as you're using the sunlight rather than an electrical heater. It keeps them nice and warm. Had to keep the doors open, moderate the temperature. Another way to moderate the temperature is by doing water changes in the tank and getting fresh water in. This is the pipe I use. I siphon it out. This is a raised platform into that drain, which then runs out of the polytunnel into the drainage system in the ground. Doing this through this method, or by dripping water into the tank, you can make sure that your water doesn't get too high and too hot, which can really damage the fish through different factors that can have really big effect on them. I have this aerator here to keep my pond oxygenated, and if I didn't have this in here, in the higher temperatures, above like 23 degrees, oxygen dissolves in the water, so the fish wouldn't have enough oxygen and then start to die. So make sure you have a high oxygenation running through your pond, and you shouldn't have too much troubles. Just make sure you do constant tests to make sure your oxygen levels are at the right amount. Koi need about 8 milligrams, I think, per square centimetre. I'm not too sure on the exact amount, but as you can see, the koi are lively and happy, a good sign that the oxygen is working well. I used to have it in here to start off with, but I'd liked it more in the tank. Now that you've gotten everything else right, it's time to focus on the food that you feed your koi. The quality of the food you feed them can really determine how quickly the fish grow. As you can see, my fish are happy to feed, which is a good sign they're nice and healthy, as you see here. Now this is also an effect you see when you have many fish in the same tank. It's sort of like they skull together, they shoal together. I quite like it. It's nice to watch them eat. It's really, it makes me really happy to see them eat together. And really feeding quality feed is going to make sure that your fish are nice and healthy. If you feed cheap, now I understand koi food can be quite expensive, and I've had that myself, but you've really got to put the koi's health ahead of that. And I've tried different feeds, and I really see a difference in colour, body shape, and just the growth speed of the fish. Like these fish, see certain fish down there and they eat more than the others, and they've just grown a lot faster. As you can see, just real growth difference, and feeding more quality feed will help your fish grow up thicker, bigger and more healthy than they would if you fed them cheaper food, which is a big sacrifice to make, but it's worth it for the health of your fish. This is what I feed them currently. It's Cutterbrook Koi Farm fry food, about £27 for about 1.5 kg. As you can see, I feed about 10 scoops of this a day, depending on how hungry they are. Don't overfeed. otherwise you might kill the fish. Always better to underfeed. This is what it looks like on the inside. Now, this grain is a bit fine, and I am going to move them onto some pellets very soon, but I've just been slowly weaning them on as there is a few shorter fish in there. This is the pellets down below that I feed all my fish on, but I also give them a little bit of these. These are 3mm premium growth from Cosbit Koi Farm 10kg tub. So feeding this nicer food, I've seen a much better growth for my fish, but they'll happily eat this as well. Now, one good sign is that if they're eating happily and they're not too bothered by you and they're eating a lot, that means they're nice and healthy, no big issues there. And as you'll see in a second, them eating like that is a really good sign. And also I love to see them eat. Some of them even eating on my hands, which is really fun to see. Here you go. Watch how aggressively they feed. And the sheer size difference among the fish. It's very common to see among them. Just enjoy this footage. Also, just a quick update on the pond. As you can see, it's doing really well. The fish, I need to feed them, but as you can see, water quality's been improving, and I'm also really happy that the lily pad growth this year. Last year, there wasn't as much growth in the pond, but as you can see, the lily pads are growing really well. Now the fish love them. The fish have already spawned this year. I didn't collect the eggs because I wasn't interested in keeping any more fish. I've already got the batch from last year, and because I'm doing it on such a small scale, I just don't really have the space to keep any more fry. So there is a few, as you can see, just sort of lingering about in the pond. Some goldfish, etc., that have survived from not being eaten by the bigger fish. But, you know, I wasn't that keen on keeping them, just because you got to think about space, and it's always overdoing it's never a good thing. Keeping good care of the fish is more important to me than getting things out of them. Just love to watch them. Yeah, the pond's been doing really well. Before we start, I wanted to say sorry for the low upload rate recently. I've just had a lot of stuff going on. Never really had the time to get around to making a video, so yeah, it's nice to be back. And I'm going to try and upload weekly now, as I've got the time throughout the summer holidays, no school. So hopefully I can do some more videos on the big pond and other little side projects I'm doing around the fish area. So hopefully stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe to find out what I'm going to be doing. If you're still watching, thank you for watching today's video. I'm going to try and upload much more often, as I just said. I'm also going to be purchasing a new microphone soon. As you know, I've been recording my audio with these, which is quite poor on the water quality, and I'm also updating my editing skills. So hopefully the video qualities will improve, and you know, you can enjoy better videos for you to enjoy. Thank you for watching. Cheers.